Are y'all gonna boo me if I say that this annoys the hell out of me? Are you gonna throw tomatoes if I say that this genuinely agitates me? Like going to protests and seeing pictures of protests where people, mostly white people, bring these like vapid signs that signal that they're really just here to perform. They're really just here to garner attention. Because, in my opinion, there are three choices you have.
Hello guys, welcome once again to AfriPost. I hope wherever you are, you're having a great time. Now, the kind of protest that took place in the United States the other day has really revealed a lot about the differences between the minority groups that exist in the United States, because you're finding out that Latinos were crying out loud saying that blacks are not joining them in this kind of protest. But then blacks said, we are staying this one out, because for many years, when blacks have gone to the street to demand things that are rightfully theirs, Latinos have been quiet. They have not come out to support them. They have not made any effort to really champion or even amplify the voices that blacks have been pushing around. So they said no to your calls. We are not going to be part of you. And this is something that has really made Latinos to really rethink what they are talking about when it comes to black people. I came across clips here on TikTok where they were kind of crying and saying that blacks are right now behaving like they have achieved whatever they wanted, and they don't want to join people engaging in things that we are engaging in right now. I want us to watch this compilation of clips where Latinos were complaining, and even some whites were really talking negatively about the decision by black people to distance themselves from the things that they were doing. Then we shall talk in the end. Let's watch.
Right now, there's a whole conversation going about that liberation is not going to be obtained through blackness. And we're not saying that it's going to be obtained through blackness, but what people are saying is that you cannot expect black people to put their identity to the side when the people you are asking them to stand in solidarity and work for liberation, collective liberation, are still using white supremacist tactics and are still anti-black. We cannot let go of our identities if that is what's being weaponized against us. I saw someone expand on the conversation that was started by someone else saying that we are not going to get liberation through our identities, whether it's our queerness, our transness, or whatever it may be. But the thing is, we are not going to get to liberation if we are working alongside with people that we know are homophobes, bigots, racists, and all of the above that still weaponize that identity against you as a tool to oppress you. You cannot ask for solidarity from people that you are still using those tactics against and then asking them to put their identity to the side. That's not how it works. Conversation going about that liberation is not going to be obtained through blackness.
Go back and watch Tori's video. One of the things I want to add to this, because I feel like this is part of another pattern. Anytime we get to the point where we are talking specifically about blackness, anti-blackness, racism, and the like, there's always this attempt to pivot from that, right? And what she's talking about in that video is that, there's a conversation that says liberation is not going to be achieved through our identities, which is dumb, in my opinion. I'm just going to go ahead and say it, because the liberation, or the need for liberation, is coming for the fact that because of our identities, we are being persecuted, oppressed, discriminated against, and even killed. So it is our identities that is causing the need for us to fight for liberation. So that's number one. But number two, the people who want to say this also want to live in this bubble that somehow or another marginalized people will just share through the process of osmosis this collective goal to liberate all of us and we all live happily ever after. No. There has been centuries of violence, discrimination, and animosity that has been levied to people because of their identity. The collective liberation actions that will help move us past this point is going to have to acknowledge how each of these identities has been harmed, has been wronged, and put in place the necessary and deliberate actions and solutions to help begin the process of rectifying these centuries old actions and beliefs. So, again, go back and watch that video. And that conversation to me is yet another example of how people are trying to pivot from the conversations that we need to have, which is race, racial identity, and how that plays a part in the inner workings of this society.
I don't understand you racists, because the train to becoming a minority was going to at least have a couple of stops along the way, but y'all want it to run express with all y'all doing. Your women don't want to get with you anymore. So your idea to try to preserve things is to try to force them to have your children, which then makes them try to withhold the act that makes children entirely. So that's an L. That's one loss. Then you try to start a race war with a race that you know absolutely nothing about because you don't put yourself in situations with said people. Strike two. Loss number 2. And going back to the having babies thing, no, let's have more children that can't stand sunlight in a world where global warming is a thing, because that makes sense. Like, racism has to be some type of mental disorder. There's no logic behind it at all. Y'all sure y'all want to ride this train?
What's disappointing is that there is actually a compliment, although it's a little sad and underhanded, that the Black community receives whenever we are asked by other marginalized minority groups to help their cause. And that compliment is that they recognize that the Black community, Black people individually, we can never turn it off. We are always Black, living under a white supremacist system that is both racist and anti-Black specifically, meaning that it has set up those other marginalized minority groups according to race, ethnicity, original country of origin for the culture that they, come from. The anti-Blackness is there to the extent that it wants to set up those groups against Black people, because in an anti-Black system, being Black is bad and wrong and dumb. By default, Black is bad. And so the idea is you would want to position yourself closer to being YT. You never can be YT, of course, but to position yourself closer to being YT so you can try to be good and right and smart. And that system and the people who happily uphold it, because they are YT supremacist, they will allow those marginalized communities that are not Black to believe, yes, just set yourselves up by working against Black people, and then everything will be fine, and we will give you that little slice, the little taste of privilege. But it's really just more of a favored beast of burden until you outgrow your usefulness, and then they pull the rug out from under you, because it was always a lie to you. I'm not saying that for the purposes of AAPI communities when it comes to the Supreme Court ending race as a factor for college admissions, or when it comes to Hispanic and Latino communities, when it comes to immigration and the current political landscape. Yes, it was always bad. It's 80, 100 times worse now, right? And unfortunately, there is some erasure in the fact that there are Black people who are already in those communities. Afro-Latino are a thing. But for those persons who are asking for Black people who do not have any connection to Hispanic culture or community by genealogy, when we are asked to jump in, it's because we have the practice, the knowledge, the experience, the expertise in navigating an anti-Black system. We are always going to know how to navigate that system, how to resist that system, because we never had the privilege of delusion and the belief that we were safe, and that as long as we had just elect one person or one political party, that all of our problems would be solved, and that no one was ever coming for us. We knew that that wasn't the case. Even the grifters among us in the Black community that just want to tell YT supremacists that, yes, YT is good and right and smart, the grifters who make their money just off of criticizing other Black people, because that's how you get paid to be a grifter in YT supremacist system. Yep. They know. It's just they don't say anything to that anti-Black system about it. But the problem is that when another group or individuals within these groups, because we recognize as black people that others aren't monolith, just as we aren't monolith, when others within those groups decide that they do not want to be close to blackness or the black community or black people, what are we supposed to do? In terms of political strength, in terms of pressure, what are we supposed to do other than take the beatings and bullets for you, which is not enough, because being black in that anti-black system means being bad and wrong and dumb. And we were saying, hey, don't listen to them. They are lying to you. But we had to be wrong. We had to be dumb about this until it turns out that we were right. But it's not, hey, you guys were right this entire time. We were hoodwinked. It's, I don't know how this happened, but could you help us out, please? That suggests to us that the lesson wasn't learned, that there is still a desire to believe that lie and that all you really want is someone else to tell you the same lie. And if that's the case, why should we donate our labor, our energy, our bodies to a fight that you're just going to give up in a year anyway when somebody else tells you the same lie? Especially when, yeah, it's 80, 100 times worse for you, but it's 80, 100 times worse for us too, as is the nature of that racist anti-black system. So if some of us are saying we should marshal our resources for the coming fights that affect us, you can't say that they're wrong. Because when we tried to make community with you, when you thought you were safe and you weren't interested in it, some of us really believe that you're interested in community now. Some of us believe that you're just trying to use us now, and then will abandon us at the first sight of maybe getting what you want. And it's not our issue to get over that when the anti-blackness that was bought into is still there and not really reckoned with as a thing that you should truly understand, feel bad for, apologize for, and reject from this point forward. Now, again, we are not monoliths, so there are some of us that are still willing to lend our voices and our time to that effort, to efforts that don't include just black people. But others that decided that they wanted to focus internally, they aren't wrong either. Especially when the unfortunate reality of the matter is that when there is a splintering within those other groups, even within YT people, black people are always asked to fill in the gaps. But when it comes to black people, we don't have anyone else that we could go to. We have to be solid internally for anything to happen for us. We can't say, hey, persons outside the black community, can you help us? Because in that anti-black system, no one's willing to help, really. Only if it somehow also benefits them. So, really, it just goes back to that question. What are we specifically supposed to do? Other than, I guess, give our tacit approval and agreement that the stuff that affected us really isn't important. That what's happening to you matters more. Because you are more important than us. Because, well, you wanted to position yourself close to being YT, and we need to help you get there. And we're not interested in doing that.
I really hope the day has come where we as melanated people are done screaming for change. Like, how long have we been with our hands out looking for change? Change, penny, dimes, nickels, quarters, nothing of a real full dollar. Okay, so has the day come where we are done? Are we done understanding that there will never be a seat at the table for us? The table that they built was never built for us, and it is okay because that table is fragile. The table is fragile, and it is ran by us. The tabletop sits on our backs. So are we going to stand up and stop upholding their table? Because that's the only thing that's keeping everything going is us. If we decided that we wanted to stand up, we would then realize there was never a table at all. That it was just a slab of wood sitting on our backs. Okay, so now that we have stood up and we realize there was never a table, it was all an illusion, and we remember greatly who we are, we realize that there could never be any changes within their corporation for us. We have to dismantle the whole system, burn the slab of wood, okay, and usher in our table that is created of marble, indestructible, okay? Once we usher in our own table, we will understand that that table that was never meant for us and that sat on our backs, okay, it didn't have any of the constructs that we needed for our people. It was never, the medical system was never for us. The education system was never for us. The laws were never for us. So while we've been screaming for change in a system and a corporation that was never for us, so they were never going to make the changes for us. Because what you really need to understand is that they stole everything from us for themselves. So as a people, when we began to bring back our own school systems, when we began to build up our own medical institutions, okay, for us, by us, then we will have some progress. When we begin building back up our communities that are housed with people who look like us, okay, in communities, not neighborhoods, communities that are centered around us. No one is going to ever make a seat at their table for us. It is for us to provide and supply our own table. Okay? So while we sit back and we watch this system dismantle, we as melanated people, prisoners, descendants of prisoners of war, need to begin taking back everything that is ours. And the first order of business is to change your status. Okay? Because you are a member of a corporation right now, a debtor, okay? And it's going to come a day where we have to understand that giving back those social security cards, giving back those licenses, giving back those birth certificates is the first step in saying, hey, I actually don't want anything more to do with your system, and I actually want you to give me back my rightful birthright status as an Aboriginal American. Okay, as an Aboriginal American, they know who you are. It is time for you to know who you are and for you to reclaim your status. Nothing will be done until we understand who we are. You want your land back? They're never going to give you reparations. Why? Because you're looking for reparations as a slave and you were a prisoner of war. You're not getting those reparations. You're not getting them. Okay? Your best bet is to reclaim your status and run the land. When we all reclaim our proper Aboriginal statuses, or if some want to claim U.S. nationals, we have to do it properly. If you want them to speak your proper language, you need to come up under your proper title. But you demanding anything as a debtor to their corporation is falling upon deaf ears. So when we build our table needs to be built by Aboriginal Americans, okay? Understand who you are, and then you will understand what steps need to be taken for where you have to go.
This is what psychological slavery looks like. Take a listen.
Trump is the first black president.
Amen.
Because he's the first one that has actually addressed issues in the black community. Like, Obama didn't do it.
He said it, not me.
I mean, in my lifetime, I've gone through Clinton, Bush, and Obama. Neither of them have done anything.
They certainly haven't advocated for responsibility and taking ownership of your own life and knowing that you are an individual and that in America you have freedom. We defined you as free.
They didn't even put America first. Yeah, God. You know, Donald J. Trump puts America first. So you gotta love that, man.
Awesome.
Got to.
You guys, this event is absolutely incredible. What's happening in this country, what's happening here in the heart of Los Angeles, California. We are flipping California red. And we are taking America back for red, white, and blue. All colors, all flavors, all races, all religions. It's all e pluribus unum, from the many one. We are one people, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For all. 4 more years.
4 more years for Trump.
Okay, so let's be real now. This isn't about a brother in a MAGA hat, right? This is about a disease in our community. A deep generational brainwashing that makes us defend the very system that was built to keep us down. That is not freedom, my brothers and sisters. That is psychological slavery. When I see a black man calling Trump the first black president, I don't see pride. I see pain that has not been processed. I see somebody who's been so down by the system, so hungry for identity, that he grabs the first thing that makes him feel powerful, even if it's a lie. Let me say this loud and clear. Trump is not and never will be the first black president. He's the first to convince some of us that our liberation lies in submission. He's the first to wear racism in plain sight while using black faces as political props to say, see, I can't be racist. And some of y'all fell for it hard. But it's not just him. It's a systemic strategy. Replace our history with propaganda. Feed us toxic masculinity and call it strength. Preach personal responsibility while defunding our schools, stealing our votes, locking us up, and calling our leaders thugs. That's not love, y'all. That's manipulation. Now, don't get me wrong. We have every right to criticize past Democratic leaders, even Obama. But please don't ever confuse critique with betrayal. Don't sell your soul to the same movement that would have had your grandmother picking cotton with a smile just because they told you you're different. You want to be a patriot? Cool, be one. But please don't co-sign a man who banned DEI programs, praised Confederate statues, refused to say Black Lives Matter, told the police to rough up suspects, aka us, and tried to erase the teachings of slavery and racism in schools. You can't wear a red hat and act like you represent freedom when you're parroting white nationalism in black skin. The truth is, this behavior is not confusion. It's survival trauma. It's what happens when we've been lied to so long, we start mistaking our oppressor for our protector. But here's the truth. Responsibility without justice is just obedience. Patriotism without truth is just propaganda. And loyalty to a man who wouldn't defend your humanity, that's not love, bro. That's captivity. And to all my people now, this is bigger than him. We got to stop laughing at this and start healing from this. Because this is not comedy. This is conditioning. So this is something I want to challenge you to do. Study your history. Guard your mind. Speak truth in love, but never sugarcoat reality. And when you see a brother or sister lost in that MAGA fog, don't just roast them, reach for them. Because if we don't educate our own, they're going to keep weaponizing our ignorance against us. We are not props. We are not pawns. We are not confused. We are the descendants of warriors, revolutionaries, kings, queens, and freedom fighters. Act like it. Speak like it. Vote like it.
Now, looking at the reactions that have come from that clip that we're just watching, you are able to see that the decision that blacks took this time round when they were saying that they are not going to participate in the protests that do not advocate or even champion for things that are critical to them. It has really made people know the stand that blacks can also have a stand and they can mean business when they decide to do whatever they're doing. Because if you look at the kind of desperation that Latinos were having for blacks to join them, you would wonder whether they have people who can help them. Why would they come out to start calling for blacks to join in this protest? During the killing of George Floyd, blacks, through Black Lives Matter, decided to go protest and do things here and there. They were referred to and called names because they were protesting and certain lootings took place. So through media portrayal and even the narratives that were being championed from different quarters, blacks were portrayed as violent people, as looters, as criminals, and everything that comes with it. During the election time, when Kamala Harris came to request for their votes, they said, we are Latinos for Trump, and therefore we don't want Kamala Harris. Right now, when Trump is implementing his border policy and deportations, they are out crying and saying, we want other people to help us. Yet when the right time came, they did not make the rightful choice that they should have made. So for me, I feel like it's for them and it's time for them to gain, if there is anything to gain, or lose, if there is anything to lose, out of the choices that they made in 2024 elections. You can also share your thoughts down in the comment section. Tell me whatever you think about this. And if you're watching us for the first time, please consider subscribing to the channel, like the video, and share. Thank you, and let's meet on the next one.